Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my F1 2018 career mode. We are back after a couple of days on hiatus, and today we are here for round 15 for the Singapore Grand Prix. If you guys missed round 14 for the Italian Grand Prix, Ferrari's home race where the pressure was on, watch the episode guys by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But today we are here for Singapore, no rain expected, and this was a massive surprise. I genuinely thought Sauber had maxed out their R&D and somehow they have brought another huge upgrade. In my head, based off of the graph, it tells me that's probably an ultimate upgrade or two major ones. Either way, they've extended the gap once again. Guys, I can't believe it. This team just does not stop upgrading. Whenever you think we're catching them, they keep on pulling away. But we arrive at Singapore and we're up against it once again. As Sauber, of course, have brought the upgrades. However, Singapore is a good track, and it's one that I do think we can excel at if we get it right. And I think there's a lot of potential here, and fingers crossed we can try and cash in on that and hopefully have a good race. Now, qualifying itself was a very messy qualifying, I have to admit. My best run was actually my first run, and then my second run was invalidated, and I didn't actually have enough time for a final run because I went out so late on my first run. I got too caught up doing setup work. I went out so late on my first run that I literally just got it all wrong. I got the timing all wrong, and yeah, I only had time for 2 runs, so apologies on my end. Really just a messy session, and you'll see as well what happened after qualifying. I mean, it'll probably be in the title of the video anyway, but it was a huge qualifying glitch in this one because I just sat in the garage, let the timer tick off, and it wasn't very pretty. But first of all, let's run on board for my first and only flying lap and my best flying lap of the session around the Singapore circuit here. Straight away onto the pit straight, opening up the DRS, and towards turn 1 you're looking for the reference point of the 50-meter board into turn 1, and then really carry the speed through turns 1 and 2, and then into turn 3, keep it nice and tight on the curb, let it run loose on the taps on the exit, trying to avoid signs there. Now through turn 4 it's all about attacking the inside curb, open up the line on the exit to really maximise your traction, and then carry the speed all along the back straight, wide open DRS here, top speed and speed trap right about here as you brake for the start of sector 2 and turn number 7. All about keeping the car within the track limits, of course, and not overdoing it on the curbs too much as we now go through this very tricky 100-degree right, which feeds into a double apex left here, and there's a little wall sticks out on the right. They've got to be careful if they hit that as we got the power once again, and now we race down towards turn 10, really attack the inside curb this time around, open up as much as you can before we go into 11 and 12 for a right-left chicane combo through the Anderson Bridge and down towards the turn 13 hairpin. First gear to get the rotation as we get on the power as soon as possible, picking up the acceleration there, and so far so good as we now come up to the second sector split and turn at number 14 here, braking late, third gear corner, and let the car run wide there on the traction. Don't run too wide though because you will get invalidated as we now go through the left into a right-left chicane, and we're going to take it nice and easy through this one. Take it, patience is required through here, you don't overdo it too much as we now go through a left-right chicane underneath the bridge, and really using that inside curve there to get the rotation, and then finally one more right-left chicane going under the underpass there on the motorway, and then finally the final corner here, double apex left, carry the speed, throw the car in, open up the DRS before the line, and that is the lap of Singapore, and we fell about 2/10 shy of Leclerc's lap, and ultimately it was a shame because there was more pace in the lap, and to be fair, on my second run I was up by quite a bit here as you can see, and the lap was going really well. So we now go underneath the bridge here. I'm currently 3/10 up on my previous best, bearing in mind the gap we had before. We was doing well, but then we cut the corner there, taking too much curb on the inside, unfortunately, and it was a real shame because as you'll see now as we cross the line, we should have had pole for by about 1/10 and a half, so disappointing, and was not the best way to do it. And then eventually, of course, I didn't have time for no more runs, so I stayed in the garage, let time tick down, and yeah, it was not ideal as you can see here. We had a really bad qualifying glitch this time around. I sat in the garage, let the time hit 0, and then we were faded to a black screen and cut to the qualifying results. And I mean, look at the gaps. I mean, come on. And this is absolutely ridiculous. I really hope this glitch isn't in next year's game because that's the reason I don't do Q1, Q2, Q3, because every time you fade to black in the results, it keeps on sending me to glitch lap times. I need to be on the track when the flag drops. So yeah, disappointing to be honest. And like I said, my fault because I misjudged it. Went out too late on my first run and I kind of ruined it from there onwards. But nonetheless, we are going to start the race on P10 tomorrow, and even then that's bad luck. I wish we could have got P11 and got the free choice of tyre instead. instead, we're going to start from P10 on those used hypers in the first run, and we've got it all to do in the race tomorrow. Charles Leclerc starting on pole position. With that being said, though, we're going to jump into the race, and it is now time for round 15 here for the Singapore Grand Prix here at Marina Bay. It's time for the race.
Hello and welcome one and all to the shining streets of Singapore. Can you believe we've been coming here for nearly a decade now? It feels like only yesterday that Felipe Massa was dragging his fuel hose down the pit lane in that eventful opening race, and in a Grand Prix won from pole position more often than not, will we see a new victor crowned today? The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Now I want to ask you about Esteban Ocon. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Marcus Ericsson completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Hülkenberg, Carlos Sainz and Alonso, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Grosjean and Martinez, Hartley, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas and Van Dorn, Perez, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll, Sirotkin and Esteban Ocon rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay then guys, here we are on the grid for the Singapore Grand Prix. A horrific qualifying glitch yesterday in qualifying, and we start all the way down in P10. I'm a little bit unlucky. I wish I'd got P11 because I could have had the free choice of tyre, but luck wasn't on my side, so we're going to have to start the tyres that we did our first running qualifying on, unfortunately for us. So, you want to try and avoid the hypersofts. We don't really have much of a choice, so we're going to have to use them, and I'm going to try and take a risk on strategy here today and kind of hope the Ferrari car is very kind on its tyres. Now, as you can see on screen, no rain expected here today, and the strategy is a bold one. The original strategy was hyper, ultra, ultra. I've switched it to a hyper straight onto the soft. I'm going to try and go for the one-stop strategy, and also I've taken out a lot of the fuel. I'm actually negative by half a lap, so I'm hoping if I'm light at the beginning, I can take it very easy on the tyres and gradually make my way through the traffic without pushing too much, and hopefully the strategy will get me into the race, and then I can try and manage it from there. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it pays off. It's a big gamble, but we need to score the points and not hand Leclerc big fat 25 points because he starts from pole position. So with that being said, let's jump into it here. And it is now time for round number 15 for the Singapore Grand Prix. Let's get into it. Right, here we go. Let's get ready for the 5 red lights. Revs up into the sweet spot. Lights are on here at Marina Bay. And they are off. Not a bad start, but definitely not a great one. Going to adjust the brake bias real quick before we hit turn 1. Got to be careful here. Got Verstappen and Grosjean side by side into turn 3. I'm going to try and switch back underneath. Let's try and maybe get a move here. Side by side, Grosjean and Verstappen still going through turn 4. We get a huge tank snapper, but a good exit nonetheless. We are going to get a nice toe. Verstappen and Grosjean are still side by side. We're going to go to the inside here. Very late on the brakes. A little bit of contact there with Grosjean, but we're going to take it. Absolutely going to take that. Very nice double overtake there. I was the latest of the late breakers into that corner. We've taken the position. Now we've got the Renaults here in front of us side by side. Leclerc, I presume, is leading the way here in the Saubers. We've got the Renaults side by side into the very narrow Singapore sling section here. This could get pretty nasty. We're going to get very close to Ricciardo through the Anderson Bridge into the hairpin. I'm going to try and set up a switchback here, possibly on the Red Bull. Good traction down. There we go. Ricciardo does have a toe from the car in front. Can we semi on the brakes? Yes, we do. Down into turn 14 on the power side by side. A little bit of contact there. Ricciardo on the outside. I want to hold it on the inside though and make the move. And there we go. Another overtake done. Up into 7th place. Very good opening lap so far. Making good progress. And getting ourselves well into the top 10 now. Making the most of the hypers before they start to wear out and overheat. I'm going to try and take it easy on these tyres though. I don't want to kill them if possible straight away. Leclerc leads the way, setting the pace in the Sauber. Sebastian Vettel P3 behind Marcus Ericsson. And then we've got both of the Renaults. But let's see how this race goes and let's see how it progresses. It's the longest one on the calendar in terms of duration. Even though these cars are pretty quick now, we can definitely do the mid 1 minute 30s lap time wise, but it's still a very long race. 31 laps goes on forever, so let's see how it goes, and fingers crossed we can try and have a positive race here today. Leclerc sets the pace, 35.0. Very strong pace from the Sauber already, as DRS will now be unable to cross the line as we set a 36.4 on our end. Getting a toe off for the McLaren of Alonso, but not close enough just yet. Alonso will have DRS on signs onto the main straight, so we need to try and get as close as possible to really maximise the toe. And there we go, it's been a strong lap so far. Now through the right, 5th gear to get the power down nice and early. There we go. We are within range. I'm going to use the rich mix here because I'm saving quite a bit of fuel. I can't quite get the one Alonso though. Not really close enough. So we're going to continue on here, but I'm starting to put the pressure on already on the Ferrari. And fuel, I should have gone even lighter. I'm saving so much fuel already in traffic here. Out the hairpin. I've already got rich mix enabled. No DRS here. I can get a run, but I'm just not close enough. Definitely starting to put the pressure on though. That McLaren is not very good on a straight line. And Alonso's feeling the pressure here as I start to breathe down his neck. That's going to be the first corner cut of the race. Scrubbing off too much speed there. But let's stay within contact. I think I tend to get a good run through the final 2 apexes at the final corner. So let's stay close and we should be able to get a run into the pit straight on Alonso. Into overtake and hot lap mode through the final corner. Very close to Fernando here. DRS open now. We're going to get the run into turn 1. Around the outside. It's very wide, very late, but we get it done. And we swing around the outside of the 2-time world champion and get the job done. And we should pick up some DRS here from Sainz, free of charge. There we go. And that's going to keep me in front of Fernando Alonso for now. And now we begin our chase towards the Renaults. Very good start to the race so far. Recovering very nicely. Okay, looking at my tyres, temperatures look pretty good so far. Nowhere near the 100-degree mark, which is fantastic. So we're going to obviously stay out and try and commit to this strategy because it's all about tyre wear at the minute, not tyre temperatures, which is what I like. So let's keep going because tyres feel good. We're putting the pressure on the Renaults already here, so it's looking pretty encouraging thus far. Although Leclerc's already vanished into the distance, so I'm just hoping he's not a pit stop gap ahead of me once it comes around to the pit stops, which should begin next lap, and I'm kind of hoping Leclerc 2 stops. Someone that is 2 stopping is my teammate though, Sebastian Vettel. Oh, that was close, almost at the back of the Renault. Caught me out there how much speed the Renault lost. But we're going to stay close to Sainz here and try and set him up for a move on the back straight. He has got DRS on his teammate, but I reckon I should be okay. On the power, let's try and keep the pressure on the Renault here. Sainz is going to take a compromised line into turn 4. Oh my god, that was close. Almost lost my front wing there. Sainz got out of shape mid-corner. But we take the position, and we are now past the Renault. Nico Hülkenberg up next. Also, I'm leaving it in rich mix as I want to go more into the negative of fuel. I want to stay nice and light for the whole race so I can make the one-stop work. Especially on these hypers, I need to go very long on these if possible. The longer I go on these, the better my race. So we're going to stick with it. I'm kind of hoping Leclerc pits in this lap though. Right then, out the final corner, or the penultimate corner should I say. This time we're not going to get held up here as we get a great run through the final corner. DRS open, Hülkenberg doesn't have DRS. Here we go. Around the outside of turn 1. Hülkenberg leaving the room, but we're going to swoop around the outside of 3 and take the position, thank you very much. None of the Saubers come in though, which is a little bit concerning. I'm kind of hoping they don't go for the one stop, otherwise we're going to be on the exact same strategy and that's going to ruin my race chances of winning. So hopefully they're not on the one stop. Hülkenberg coming back at me here, but not enough. So we set a personal best sector 1 and we continue on our way. And we now got clean air, so let's try and put these tyres to use, see if we have any tyres left. Okay, Leclerc pits in. So it's looking like it's not going to be a one stop for him, which is good. Let's see what tyre he goes for. Looking like maybe another hyper. No, okay, he goes into the ultra soft. So Leclerc going for the 2 stop, and crucially we're ahead of him. He didn't open up a whole pit stop gap, which is good. And actually Leclerc's going to feed down a little bit of traffic here, which is good as well. Yellow flag on the pit straight. Not sure what happened there. Looks like we've got a slow moving Haas. I can just see it. I caught a glimpse of it. I think it's a Haas that's going slow. Okay, tyres are okay. Right side of the tyres on 100 degrees. And my lap times are still pretty consistent. You know, only a tenth off my personal best. Definitely a Haas that's going slow. You can see on the mini-map there. I'm going to see if I can try and get to lap 9. If I can get to lap 9, then that'd be fantastic, because this is my scheduled pit stop lap and I've still got tyres left, so I want to continue on, because it's going to feel quite horrible on those softs at first, trying to get them up to temperature, so I want these to feel quite horrible as well. And like I said, I've got tyre life and also tyre temperature left, so I can definitely push for a few more laps. Ericsson pits in now, presumably for the ultras as well. Trying to use up all this ERS and fuel to really maximise the first stint, which has been perfect so far. I've got to say, the overtakes have been good. We've been very efficient. That was a bit understeering, and there's a virtual safety car. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Obviously, we're not going to benefit from it because we just missed the pit lane. Otherwise, I would have pit there, to be honest. But it's going to help me cool my tyres down, which is good. So that's no harm done there. Okay, VSC now ending. Let's time this. There we go, up to speed. That wasn't too bad, to be honest. Let me cool my tyres down a bit, so we should be able to get 1.5 more laps out of these tyres. And now it's a race to the finish now. Both myself and Charles Leclerc have 1 stop left, so the gap I have to Leclerc is the gap I need to keep. So it's important that we come out in clean air. And it's important that the remainder of this stint is perfect. There's the slow moving Haas, which comes into the pit lane, gets out of my way. Okay then, this is the start of our in lap. Let's make it a good one. Let's try and maximise, even though the grip isn't great. Back and let go there. Got to be careful. Yellow flag. One of the McLarens has pulled off his Stoffel Van Dorn. If there's a safety car now or a VSC, that really brings me into the race. Right then, looks like we're not going to get nothing for that incident. Into the pit lane then. Got to be careful on pit entry. Up to speed and slow it back down to 60. There we go, that's a perfect entry. Okay, so now this is when it gets to squeaky bum time, because we need to try and lap at the same pace as Charles Leclerc, who's flying on soft compound tyres, which is going to be interesting. Leclerc should be on those, I reckon, for another...
They have some kind of mechanical problem.
Ooh, okay, that's good. Anyway, back to the point. Leclerc should be on those tyres for about another 7-8 laps, is my guesstimation. But we need to lap at the same pace as Leclerc on these slower tyres, so it's going to be a challenge. We had about a 6.5 second gap as we run wide there. These soft tyres feel horrible. Already I can just feel how cold they are, but we're going to try and get up to speed on these. Try and switch them on ASAP, but Ericsson's got car trouble. That's a window of opportunity. Even if we get second place this race, that'll be a fantastic achievement, or even P3. Let's get up to speed here. I'm going to try and get some fuel back on target now. And we're going to get up to speed and try and push on if we can. Okay, then across the line, we've actually managed to keep Sainz over a second adrift, which is good. So he's out of my DRS, so he doesn't start putting the pressure on and starting to mess up my stint, which means I can now focus on my own lap times. I've got the tyres up to temperature now, so we can start to push and try and make an attempt to win this race. They've got pretty good pace on these, to be fair. They don't feel fantastic, but a 35.7, that's good enough pace, I think. Seeing as Leclerc isn't doing the 34.6s anymore, so I reckon that could be good enough as we get a second track extension there. Got to be careful with those. Got to try and go the rest of the race now without picking up another corner cut or extension, which should be okay, it should be doable. But got to be careful. Another personal best there, 35.6. This is good pace. If I keep this up, we're matching Sebastian Vettel, which is good, and Vettel's catching up to Ericsson, so P2 is looking good at the minute. There we go, 35.4, purple final sector. We should get faster and faster as the race goes on. As the fuel burns off, these tyres should last forever, so it's more about the fuel at this point. Okay, Sebastian comes in. He was the first one to stop last time, and he's the first one to stop this time.
Sebastian is in the pits.
So we're now looking good for a podium here. Obviously Sebastian has to catch me up because I'm going to the end of the race. Ericsson, I'm not sure if he said that's car trouble, but Vettel was dropping off of Ericsson, so I wonder if Ericsson's fixed his car, Vettel had trouble. Either way, Ericsson should be the next one to pit in. There he is, just up the road, you can just about see him. And then obviously Leclerc, we need to see where he is. Have I done enough to keep him behind me once he pits in? Let's find out. Okay, I'm up to positive fuel now, so I'm going to go back into rich mix. I'm going to try and push now, set a couple of strong laps to really try and keep Leclerc behind if possible. Looks like Sebastian Vettel, he went for the soft tyre in his final stint. The Saubers are staying out and they're going long because they want to try and get onto that ultra soft once again, which is going to make them very fast at the end. So it's going to be tricky. I'm closing down Ericsson. He seems to have fixed his car now, as he doesn't seem to be going that slow anymore. But I am closing him down, and I'm going to weigh out my options here, because if I can, I'm probably not be able to win the race, but I'll see how it goes, because if I can challenge Ericsson and maybe get off this tyre, then I might consider it. Okay, they're closing the pit lane. Here we go then. There he is, he's leaving the pit lane now. Looks like he has done enough. Sauber waited to see if he could come out in front of me and get a window on track, and he has done. And Leclerc rejoins with fresh ultras in the lead of the race. We tried from P10, we gave it a go on the strategy. We took a risk, but it hasn't paid off. And Leclerc is going to probably win this race now. So the best we can do is damage limitation, and that is trying to get our second place. So Ericsson should come in this lap, so let's try and have a strong lap here and stick with Leclerc if possible. Okay, so it's decision time. Do we pit in with Ericsson and go for a set of ultras, or do we stick with these? I think I'm going to stick with these, to be honest. I reckon these tyres are the best way for me to do it and get the strategy that I need, so we're going to commit to this and go to the end on these. Fingers crossed the gamble pays off. There's Ericsson in the pit lane now, and we jump up into P2 in this race. Let's try and finish the race here. Leclerc setting the pace on those fresh ultras, 33.8. Meanwhile, I'm in the high 35s, low 36s, so we're quite a way off. But that's just the way it is. I'm trying to get these tyres to the end, otherwise I could push a lot more, but I'm just trying to make sure we finish the race in these. Because there's going to be a lot of laps on one set of tyres, I can confirm. So we're taking it easy, but hopefully we're okay. I'm fingers crossed Hamilton can actually put away from me here, and I don't have to lap him. Leclerc not messing around, another 33.8. I've just about managed to be okay with Hamilton. He's not getting in my way just yet. But this lap traffic coming out of pit lane is not doing me any favours. As you can see, Ocon there and Hamilton are now going to start, dicing it up and trying to battle for position here, and that's going to cost me some time. Meanwhile, Ericsson, you can see now any minute he's going to cross the line, and you'll get an idea of how far behind he is. There he is, 16.7, so that's okay. Considering the amount of laps we have left, he needs to gain about 2 seconds a lap, so it's looking good. But I need to keep pushing. I can't give up just yet. I've gone down to standard engine mode because I want to get positive fuel now for the end of the race. Meanwhile, Hamilton and Ocon here are now really dicing it out. Hopefully Ocon will just move to one side for me, because I can't afford to waste too much time, and that is the worst possible way to get out of the way. Classic blue flag AI in this game, that is right there. Wow, Leclerc is just not stopping. 33.7. He's still pushing on. At the minute, I'm on autopilot. As you guys know from before, I'm still just one corner cut / track extension away from a penalty, so I've got to be careful. Ericsson, though, is making strong progress. He's now 6.8 behind, and there's 5 laps left, so it's going to be close. Ericsson has to tackle the lap traffic, though, which might help me out, but it's going to come down to the last few laps, and if we keep Ericsson behind. Now, I've also managed to save some fuel and get ERS back on side, so we're going to push on once again here and have one last push to try and keep the gap as high as we can. Okay, Ericsson has now cleared the traffic. He did lose a little bit of time to the Force India of Ocon, which is good. Meanwhile, we actually set a personal best, a 34.9. Don't know where that came from, but then again, I've been saving my tyres for quite a while, so it kind of makes sense. The gap is 6 seconds now with 3 laps to go. I think we should be safe, as we're now back into the negative of fuel, so I'm going to let my fuel get back on target. And if we need to push again, I'll push again, but I think we should be home and dry, to be honest. Stuck behind Gasly here. I'm losing a lot of time on this final lap. Hopefully he'll get out of my way now on this back straight. If not, we'll be in trouble. Come on, Pierre, move out of the way, son. Come on, get out of the way. Really costing me time here. Ericsson's going to close the gap. Luckily, Ericsson's going to encounter Gasly now through sector 3. Meanwhile, Leclerc should be about to cross the line. There you go. Leclerc wins the Singapore Grand Prix. We've managed to keep, away from the track limits and not extend or cut a corner whilst trying to have a strong pace. Great job. And Ericsson's going to try, but no cigar for him here today, as we are going to probably bring home the second place. The fireworks go off here at Singapore. But here we go through the final corner. And grazie ragazzi, una buona strategia. Macchina forte, forza Ferrari. Grazie ragazzi. Wow, what race. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. Tough, but enjoyable.
Congratulations to Sauber then for their excellent win today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well, though. There's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
So, here they come out now onto the podium after a thrilling Grand Prix. It just goes to show what a strong position the sport is in, that these independent teams can be so competitive. What a superb victory from the Sauber team.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? You must be thrilled to be up on the podium. You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just misjudge some corners? Great, well that's everything.
Right, so there we have the final race results then. Charles Leclerc wins at Marina Bay in Singapore. We come home second, a very, very good podium from P10 on the grid on the pretty handicapped strategy of starting on the hypersofts. And then Marcus Ericsson runs off the podium. Sebastian Vettel P4, look how far behind he was on the two-stop strategy. And goes to show the one-stop was the best chance to try and get a podium here today. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz P5, Alonso P6, and then we have Ricciardo, Grosjean, Verstappen and Hulkenberg running out the top 10. Hartley misses out on the points, as does Perez, Gasly, Ocon, Hamilton, Sirotkin, Bottas, Stroll and Magnussen, with Stoffel Vandoorne retiring from the Grand Prix here today in the McLaren. In terms of what the race means for the Drivers' Championship though, the gap now is cut down to 30 points as Leclerc closes in a little bit there. Ericsson still P3, Sebastian Vettel still P4, and no other changes anywhere else realistically speaking. And in terms of the constructors, we've dropped behind the Sauber a little bit. Obviously Sauber getting that 1-3 finish, and we're now down to 18 points behind Sauber. Still we're in the mix, and the upgrade race is long, and it's not over just yet. Now we do have a ultimate chassis upgrade on the way. However, for this next race we're not going to have any upgrades on the car because I don't have enough points. All we have left is major or ultimate upgrades, so we're going to save some points up and get some upgrades on the car in the next race. With that being said though guys, if you did enjoy this video and this episode of Career Mode, drop a like and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and turn on notifications to not miss a video from me. Finally, check out these two videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, thank you for watching guys. I'll see you in my next video very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.